The United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the young man who has become a legend in his own time. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, my bad. What's up, everybody? Yours truly, Ron Kelly, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Program. Coming to you live every Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, blogtalkradio.com. All over the place, just for you. Anyway, everybody, it's just a couple of minutes past the hour. Wow, what a week. We're in a shutdown now. There's a government shutdown, all contributed to the butt-kissing of Donald Trump. You got to give it to Trump. I mean, you got to. I mean, the power that Trump wields as president is probably unlike anything we've ever seen. The power that Trump wields, the fear that he puts in people. Look at Johnson, the House Speaker, just a puppet of Trump's, and the fear that Trump puts in people, where some of the Democratic congressmen have resigned. Once they went against Trump, they resigned, and so I don't necessarily, I don't necessarily agree with what Trump does, but you gotta give it to him. He wields tremendous power in Washington, D.C. and all across the country, but people are afraid to talk about him. Look what happened to good old Liz, the daughter of the former vice president. What happened to her? Destroyed in her bid to win another term in Congress, when she went against Trump and she testified and she was on the committee, the January 7th committee, and she was destroyed when she tried to run again. So Trump wields tremendous power. And see, again, it's unlike anything in that I know of. But you look at the Putins and the Kim Jong-uns of the world, that's where you see strongmen wielding that kind of power. So Trump, you got to give it to him. I don't want to give it to him, but he wields tremendous power, unlike anything that's ever taken place before him. Anyway, everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Program every Thursday night, 7 o'clock, right here on blogtalkradio.com, LA Talk Radio, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and the YouTube channel. Going over there, if some of y'all, and show the YouTube channel some love. Y'all ain't been giving the YouTube channel no love. So go on over there and give the YouTube channel a little bit of love on a Thursday night. Kind of nippy. The beach is over. The festivals, the house music festivals, all of that's over now. It's nippy. It's in the 50s right now. And it's getting cold, and pretty soon you're gonna have to I'll have to put my shielding back on pretty soon. A ritual that we've all gone through so many times. But anyway, it's good to have you people here. I'm glad, honored that you took time out from your day to come over, hang out with your boy, Ron Kelly. So, who I almost said R. Kelly. It's the Ron Kelly Show. And I still listen speaking of R. Kelly, I still listen to R. Kelly's music now. Don't get me wrong. Now, the radio stations, the black radio stations have banned them and all of this stuff. But I still don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. Anyway, I can't sing either. Anyway, it's about 5 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Program. Probably going to go into daylight savings time pretty soon. I know Mr. Trump doesn't like that, but we're probably going to go into it. sooner or later. It's 5.5 minutes past the hour. So yeah, so we're in a government shutdown. So everything stops. You all know how it is. Everything stops, and you know, and so Trump is talking about firing the people who were supposed to be furloughed. Now he's talking about firing the people. No, now everybody who works for the United States government, the 4 million or so people, can't be all Democrats or people on the left. No, it can't be. It can't be. There's got to be some Republicans in there. There's got to be some MAGA folks in there who voted for Trump and who could quite possibly get fired, not furloughed, fired. You know. So right now it's the wrath of Trump. I know there's a lot of people who listen to the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program across the United States of America who do work for the federal government. Man, I feel for you. Because, you know, they're just like pawns. You know, you're playing chess and you push the pawn out there to get knocked off by the opposing player's chess piece. Well, this is what's happening with the United States government workers. They're actually pawns, and they're being put out there. They're being put out there. Oh, shout out to my brother, my grammar school brother, Ronald McCready. Good evening, brother. How are you? Shout out to Arnetta Marshall. Hey, Arnetta, glad to have you here. Straight up from, I think Arnetta lives in Virginia. So, yeah, glad to have you here. And there's people who listen to the Ron Kelly Show who live in Africa. Unless Facebook is lying to me, there's actually people who listen to the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program who live in Africa. So I'm like, wow, well, I don't know how you say welcome in Africa, but welcome to the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Yeah, so people who work for the United States government, and not state government workers necessarily, but people who work for the United States government are, you know, are in danger of getting fired, not furloughed, fired. You know. Oh, my bad. My sister, she lives in Maryland. Okay, is Maryland further or closer? I think you go through Maryland first, right? You go through Maryland first, and then you hit Virginia. Okay, my sister, appreciate you for straightening me out on a Thursday. It's about 8 minutes past the hour. So yeah, so the people who are working for the United States government are going to quite possibly get fired. You know, and you know, I think they gotta know something because, you know, all these Medicare cuts and Medicaid cuts and all of the stuff that's going on. It's got to be affecting some of the MAGA people. It's got to be, you know, it's got to be affecting some of the MAGA people, and I think they're getting like rolled up in this. You know, I really do think so. Anyway, everybody, it's 8 minutes past the hour. I know I said time about 4 or 5 times, right? Like I got somewhere to go. No, I got a way to go. I'm gonna sit here with you guys, and we're gonna talk. So yeah, yeah. If anybody who works for the government, holler at your boy. You can go to the Facebook or YouTube. You can get at me that way, Facebook or YouTube. Or you can log on to the show at blogtalkradio.com and you can get at me that way as well. So yeah, so what's so bad about Bad Bunny? What's the Bad Bunny? What is the Bad Bunny? Why is everybody so upset about Bad Bunny? What's the problem? You know what I'm saying? Bad Bunny was chosen to be the. Bad Bunny was chosen to be the. Bad Bunny was chosen to be the person who heads up the Super Bowl halftime show. Bad Bunny. And people are going crazy that they signed Bad Bunny to do the Super Bowl halftime show. I'm like, what's the problem? What's going on with Bad Bunny? What's the problem? What the problem is, you know, with Bad Bunny? Why is it that Yeah, why is it that they have a problem with Bad Bunny? And now what I'm hearing is that what's her name, Swifty, Taylor Swift was in negotiations to do the halftime show, but I think that she wanted to get paid. See, because believe it or not, I was scratching my head too when I first heard it that folks who do the Super Bowl halftime show don't get paid because it's such a opportunity for most, except for her. Now, Taylor Swift is world famous, billionaire, you know, legions, millions and millions of Swifties out there. That's what they call her followers. And what I understand is she wanted to get paid. And the NFL said, no, we don't pay people to do the halftime show. Now, Taylor Swift doesn't need any, she doesn't need any publicity. Everywhere she goes, she's got plenty. She doesn't need it. And see, a lot of people go on, Michael Jackson didn't need it publicity either, but he went on there anyway, But some of the smaller groups like J-Lo and some of the other people, old boy that went on there last year, it benefited them. But I guess she figured it wasn't going to benefit her, so she said, well, I'm not doing it. So the NFL said, okay, have a nice day. So Bad Bunny was the second choice, not the first choice, the second choice. Now I know Bad Bunny, people say, who the heck is Bad Bunny? Bad Bunny's got 40-something million followers on his Instagram. So he's not some person that nobody knows, but he's not nearly as big as Taylor Swift. So there's an uproar now. The Swifties don't understand what actually happened. They don't understand what actually happened. So Swifties, what actually happened was that Taylor Swift wanted to get paid. Well, she made some demands that the NFL was not going to handle. Yeah, the NFL is, the NFL has never paid for a halftime show since they started doing halftime shows. Since the Super Bowl became a more of an entertainment event than a sporting event. And there are folks who have benefited from going on a halftime show. Many groups, acts. But Taylor Swift can't get any more famous than what she is right now. How much more famous can she get? So she said no. So all you people out there who are pissed off with Taylor Swift, pissed off with the NFL. The NFL does not pay people to be on the Super Bowl halftime show. And people were up in arms. Bad Bunny. I guess because Bad Bunny kissed the dude. I think I saw that too, but Bad Bunny kissed somebody who was on his band members or something in the mouth. But I don't think that was a problem. I think that people wanted to see Taylor Swift on the Super Bowl halftime show, and she was not able to come to an agreement with the NFL, the hierarchy, Roger Goodell and folks. So she said no. That's why they picked Bad Bunny. So, Bad Bunny would never have been the first choice to head up the Super Bowl halftime show. I don't think. So Taylor Swift out, Bad Bunny in. That's the deal. But we're going to talk tonight about the segregation. We're going to talk about segregation and pre-Civil War Act situation in the black community. We're going to talk about that tonight after the first break. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into that. And there's a lot of white folks, there's a lot of black folks who still don't believe that America is a racist country. I saw a video. I got to learn how to load video onto the show. That's something I have not been able to master yet. I'm going to learn how to load video onto the show because I saw some video of Tim Scott, Senator Coon, Senator Tim Coon Scott from South Carolina, who was walking in Washington D.C. just the other day, and I mean, I don't necessarily subscribe to people walking up to other people and calling them names and stuff. I mean, I'm not really, a fan of that. But some black folks walked up on Senator Tim Scott and told him he was a sellout and he was an ass kisser, and he is, because Trump has never given him a second look, as far as getting the job. Just like the Florida congressman, Byron, I can't think of his name, who also never gets, see, there's a lot of these black folks who front for Trump, never get a second look. Look at Trump's cabinet. You see any black people in Trump's cabinet? One, for housing and urban development. And that's been like, who could mess that up? Who could not be the HUD? I could be the HUD secretary. Anybody can be the HUD secretary. Does it take a whole lot of knowledge? And the black people who get appointed to that don't have no experience. I mean, you don't need any experience. That's like a no experience needed cabinet position, HUD. And it's one black person on Trump's whole cabinet, one. So he fired the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who was black. And I can't believe that there's still black folks out there who still think that there's no racist, that America is not a racist country. Now, would I rather live somewhere else? No. I take my chances in America. But there are black folks out there who really believe, for some strange reason, they really believe that America is not a racist country. We'll get into that. And we'll get into, after the break, we'll get into why I think that that maybe we should have stayed segregated. We'll get into all of that and more in just a moment, right after the break. All right, everybody, we're going to take a break. It's 20 minutes past the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and blogtalkradio.com. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on LiveTalkRadio.com, Ron Kelly Show. .com, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all over the place. Shout out to the people in Africa who listen to the Ron Kelly Show. I'm like, wow. Unless Facebook is lying to me, there are actually people in overseas, Poland, and a couple of other England folks. I mean, not a whole bunch of them, but I'm like, wow, really? Wow, it's interesting. Anyway, everybody, it's about 21 minutes past the hour. So, we're in the government shutdown. Government shutdown. They can't agree. The Democrats want the Medicaid restored, and the Republicans want to keep things where they are. So here we go. You know, and it's not the first government shutdown. There was government shutdown, threats of government shutdown. Barack Obama's presidency, both years. Biden, Clinton, first Bush, second Bush, Trump, second Trump. I mean, government shutdown is probably the threat of or actual government shutdown takes place just about every year. And as much as the conservatives and the Republicans say that they want to lower the federal deficit, it goes up. It goes up with everybody. Obama raised it. Trump raised it. The second Trump raised. I mean, you know, and the government gets bigger. Now, how can you preach fiscal responsibility to your people when the United States government right now is trillions of dollars in debt? It's like a credit card that, you know, that never gets cut off, you know. And they just keep adding on and on and on and on and on. It's just really unbelievable how the United States government just keeps piling on Trump, piling on after he lied. Well, I mean, if you believe anything Trump said, you're a fool. You know, lie. So, the Safe Bus Company was a bus company that operated in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, between 1926 and 1972. Now, the company was originally formed to provide transportation to the city's underserved black neighborhoods. The Safe Bus Company. So, in the 1920s, segregation was reached into nearly every aspect of daily life. The city of Winston-Salem's trolley service, SPUC, did not operate in black neighborhoods, leaving residents to a network of some 35 jitney operations for transportation to the city's tobacco factories where most of the black folks worked. So the city's trolley service did not operate in black neighborhoods. Winston-Salem's trolley service did not operate in black neighborhoods, so black folks didn't really have any way to get around. So the jitneys were independent and competed with each other. And the timetables, they didn't always run on time. It was a scattered system. But the Safe Bus Company was formed when 21 of those jitney operators, all black, came together and decided to form this bus company. So the jitney operators, all black jitney operators, 31 jitney operators who serviced the black community that the Winston-Salem's public transit system did not service. They came together and they formed a company. And it was called the Safe Bus Company. Now, the name Safe Bus was taken from a promise made to Winston-Salem Mayor Thomas Barber to operate a safe and organized bus system. Now, Harvey F. Morgan was Safe Bus Company's first president. He oversaw the transition from those 21 jitneys to a fleet of 35 buses. Now, once again, Safe Bus Company was formed because the Winston-Salem's transit system did not service black neighborhoods. So instead of having these 31 jitneys who weren't on time and were kind of scattered, they came together. Now that's the first point. They came together. These 31 jitney drivers came together. Unity. 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 So they came together and they formed this bus company, 35 buses. Now, the Safe Bus Company was a hit from the very beginning and continued to grow to more than 80 drivers carrying some 8,000 passengers each day. Now, Winston-Salem's bus carrier left the city in 1968, and the Safe Bus Company moved into that spot to provide transportation to all residents, making it the largest African-American owned and operated transportation company in the world. Now, so in 1972, the Winston-Salem Transit Authority purchased the Safe Bus Company because what happened was when segregation ended, black folks were able to get on the bus and other buses. That's what they did. Black folks used other ways to get around. They used other ways to get around. And because of that, segregation, because of integration, the Safe Bus Company died. The daughter of the president of the Safe Bus Company said in a magazine, many people say that segregation gave birth to Safe Bus and integration ended it. Integration ended it. Because while black folks were on their own, they had their own bus company, and they were able to, black folks almost exclusively rode on that bus company. Those buses were Safe Bus Company. And Safe Bus Company was very successful, riding up to 8,000 people a day. And back in those days, $1 was a lot. So I know they probably only paid 35 cents or whatever, but you know, that was a lot of money back then. You know. And so once segregation was over and black folks had other ways to get around and didn't have to necessarily ride in the back of the bus, the Safe Bus Company died, and the Winston-Salem Transit System bought what was left of the Safe Bus Company. So when black folks were given options, that's when they left. And the Safe Bus Company died, a thriving business during segregation. And that wasn't the only business that thrived during segregation. There was a lot of them. You know, the lady that was the first black millionaire selling the hair care products. You know, you had Black Wall Street and many other places where black folks did well because they had no other choice. We had to deal with each other. And see, you know, because segregation isn't always necessarily about race. And they're like, Ron, what? Segregation was not always about race. Not always. See, because that Safe Bus Company, and that's just, I just wanted to point one out. There were many bus companies not bus companies, but many businesses that I, found during my research for this program. Show prep is what we call it. And there were many businesses that thrived during segregation. Many black businesses that thrive during segregation. Now, black-owned businesses in the South, for example. Let me just pull this up here. Yeah, black-owned businesses, black entrepreneurs, black tradesmen during segregation, black entrepreneurship, racial segregation and discrimination forced African Americans to rely on black-owned businesses for goods and services. As a result, a vibrant network of black businesses emerged, catering to the specific needs of the black community. The National Negro Business League, was one of those was kind of like a black commerce. You had Madam C.J. Walker, who built an empire. She's the first black millionaire. This was during segregation in the Greenwood district in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. There was 300 businesses there, banks, hotels, retail establishments, and it became a hub for black. It became a hub until the white folks destroyed it in a violent race riot. You know, so a black sailmaker, James Fortin, was worth $100,000. This was the 1800s. He's the wealthiest black entrepreneur in America at that time. So, you know, blacks thrived, black businesses thrived during segregation. Thrived. Black businesses thrived during that time. I leave sometime too, and I don't apologize to y'all. Sometime I'll leave too, like during the breaks. I'll leave, so it's okay. It's fine, cause I tell you, Arnetta, from Maryland, there's no show that I listen to for the whole time. I listen to in the morning, Sunday morning, BLS on the way to church. If I'm serving Christ Church, if I'm serving my church that weekend, I listen to Open Line. But I don't listen to the whole thing. I don't listen to the whole nothing. So I don't expect nobody to listen to my whole show. But I appreciate you for the time that you're here. I really do. But I don't expect anybody to sit here for a whole hour and listen to me not babble, but me talk about stuff. But anyway, black businesses during those times, during segregation, thrived. Madam C.J. Walker was a millionaire. She's the first black millionaire, a woman. And there were many black businesses that thrived during the Jim Crow era. Many black businesses. So black folks were forced to Henry Boyd used to be a slave, became a prosperous furniture maker. Boyd's innovative designs and skilled craftsmanship enabled him to compete with white-owned businesses, demonstrating the potential of black entrepreneurship. Many folks, James Fortin, had $100,000. In 1800, that was like $100 million. William Leadsdorf, it's probably a slave name, who was a successful merchant and landowner in California during the mid-1800s. And we're talking like hundreds of years ago. Now, William Leadsdorf is often regarded as the first African-American millionaire prior to Madam C.J. Walker. So my point is that black businesses thrived when we had to deal with each other. But as we had the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. We didn't have to sit in the back of the bus anymore. We could go into white stores, and that's what we did. We went in and we ran into them white stores. That's what we did. That's what we did. And the black businesses went down the tubes. Like I was talking about the Safe Bus Company, one that I wanted to point out. The Safe Bus Company. When black folks were able to get on those other buses and use other modes of transportation, they ran to it. And what happened to the black business? Down the tubes. And this is what happened during the Jim Crow era, during the Jim Crow South, and when black folks, before black folks were able to go into white stores. So when black folks started going into Woolworths and some of the other places that were open back then, the black businesses suffered. See, this is what I'm saying, because segregation is not always about race. You know what I'm saying? People say support black businesses and all this stuff. I mean, but what black business? Because what black business is generational? What black business? What black business can you name that's generational? It's not many. Not many. So you see, personally, from that point of view, I think that we were better off segregated. We were better off. We deal with our people, you deal with your people. White folks, you deal with Kmart and Target and all of that, and we'll deal with our people. See, but the thing about it, like the sad part, is that there's no national black business. Even today, there's no national black business. There's no national black-owned retail store. There's no national black business. So Lamont Gates, I should take a sip of water before I address Lamont Gates, but Lamont Gates drives me out. But okay, so you'd prefer being segregated and unequal rights simply for black business creation? Can we have integration and black business together today? No, we can't, Lamont Gates. No, we can't. Because black folks are very easily distracted. There's no unity amongst black folks these days. So you're not going to have a large contingent of black folks who are going to just... And where are the black businesses to frequent? Where's... But Lamont, okay. Yeah, but I'm talking about businesses that the average person can walk into. I'm talking about businesses, Lamont Gates, for everyday needs. Okay, a global tech firm, workforce management in case somebody needs a job, real estate invest. I mean, but the average person on the street can't invest in no real estate. You know? And I know there's black billionaires, and I know there's multinational black-owned companies, investment banks, and stuff like that. But what about the average person, Lamont? This is what I'm talking about. The average Joe who needs a wastebasket or a set of towels or something. There's no black-owned national outlet for them to go to. It's all white-owned. If you're throwing a party, you got to go to Michael's. Or if you want to do crafts and things, you go to Michael's. You know, we go to Walmart and get profiled every time we walk through the door at Walmart. Yeah, you don't think you get profiled, you do. When black folks walk into Walmart, yes, you do get profiled. Yes, you do. That camera's on you a lot more than you think it is. Lamont Gates says there are numerous black businesses will be also 13% versus 60% white. Well, see, but there's no excuse for why we don't have. There's no excuse for that, Lamont. There's no excuse for that. You know, the Asian people don't have the Asians don't have a whole lot of. The Asians are even less of a percentage of the ethnic makeup of the United States of America. They're even less of a percentage. And they got a lot more than we do. The Asian people got a lot more than we do. Yeah, riddle me that, Lamont. How much of America? Oh yeah, all we need is listen. I'm not saying. I know there's black businesses in America, Lamont Gates. I know that. You're preaching to the choir. I know that. There are a lot of black businesses, but I'm talking about black businesses for everyday needs. You need to buy beauty products every day. How many states is a dozen cousins in? The Lock Bar, beauty salon. I mean, do you need to go to beauty salon every day? Shea butter, do you need that every day? Athleisure and lifestyle clothing, do you need that every day? And how many black folks actually are into that type of stuff? See, I'm talking about everyday needs. Because you're not going to go to those businesses every day. I never heard of a dozen cousins. But how many states are they in? Are they a nationwide chain? What states are they in? How many stores do they have? See, this is what I'm talking about. See, there's no national chain of black businesses where folks, like a Walmart, where folks is just going there, like a C.H. Martin, or a Dollar General even. There's no national chain of black business. There's none. I mean, I get it, Lamar. I'll put it back up on the screen again. I get it. I know there's a lot of black businesses. But what about the black businesses that you need every day? The ones you walk in, you can walk in. If you need a pair, if you need some underwear, or if you need a pair of socks, or, you're not going to go into, let me see, Asians don't have nearly as many chains. Well, no, they don't, but they got more than we do. Don't you claim blacks are purchasing hair products from Asians? Yeah, they do. I'm making excuses. There won't be as many national chains. All right, you put them. Okay, there's a lot of areas that are inundated with black folks. So why don't we put those businesses there? You can have stores in New York State, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia, Maryland. You may have to skip over the Midwest, but you can put them in L.A., Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington. There's a lot of places. But let me take a break and come back. Let me take a quick break and come back with more of the show. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program, and it's on blogtalkradio.com. The Ron Kelly Show. Oops, what's up, everybody? Back again. Ron Kelly, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Fighting with Lamont Gates. You know what, Lamont? I know that there's a bunch of black businesses out there. It's 15 minutes before the hour. I know there's a lot of black businesses out there, but I'm talking about national businesses and national black businesses and black businesses you can walk into for everyday items. This is what I'm talking about. Now, when you want something to eat in the black community, there's Chinese restaurants, there's KFC, there's McDonald's, there's Wendy's, there's all these choices. All these choices. Very few even in the black community, there's very few black businesses where you can go get something to eat. When you go buy a car, who you gonna buy the car from? Who do you buy your vehicle from? Who finances it? White. Yeah, not many. Not many. You see, you have more choices of the other stuff than you do of our stuff. Yeah, I understand that there's soul food restaurants but it needs to be more. There needs to be more. Yeah, I know, but it's not enough, Lamont. That's my point. It's not enough. It's not enough. Asians, they take over area. Palisade Park, for example, Palisade Park, New Jersey. The Asians everywhere. Businesses, banks, all kinds of stuff that the Asians, Palisades Park, Woodbridge, New Jersey, and Iselin, the Indians, the whole neighborhood's Indian, all the stores Indian, all of them. Newark Avenue, Jersey City, from Kennedy Boulevard all the way down to 19, all Indian. All. The whole 5 or 6 blocks. They take it because they do business with each other. See, now, when you go into a black community, you know how you know when you're a black community? When you see blight, when you see people on the corner, when you see abandoned buildings, that's how you know you're in a black neighborhood for the most part. There's some nice black neighborhood, East Orange, New Jersey. Very nice, but not many, just little corners. But when Martin Luther King Drive is a code word for turn around. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard is a code for white folks. When they see that means turn around. Go the other way. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard means to white folks. Turn around. When you see that, turn around. So when you go into the black neighborhood, but you don't see blight when you go into the Asian neighborhood. You don't see blight when you go into the Indian neighborhood. You don't see that. And blight is not necessarily a government problem. People create blight. The government doesn't create blight. Yeah, America is a melting pot, but you don't see abandoned buildings and stuff like that where these other folks live. You don't see abandoned buildings where Indians live. You don't see abandoned buildings where Asians live. You don't only see that where we live. We only see abandoned buildings and blight and Negroes on the corner. You only see that where we live. And even the black businesses in the black neighborhoods are having trouble. I used to do security right there in Paterson, New Jersey. I used to do security at a McDonald's there. Absolutely crazy. Had to call the cops just about every night to back us up. That's how bad it was. And I know black folks own McDonald's. I know. The matter of fact, there's a black person, the Harrisons, I think the last name is. They own 2 or 3 of them in the city of Paterson, New Jersey. And the one they have down by Route 20 is no problems. But the one Madison Ave and Broadway is an enormous problem. So you don't see that stuff. You don't see abandoned buildings in Indian neighborhoods. You don't see it in Asian neighborhoods. You don't see it in Jewish neighborhoods. But you see it in our neighborhoods. That's how you know you're in a black neighborhood. When you start to see abandoned buildings and shut down businesses and people on the corner, that's how you know you're in our neighborhood. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about black business and how integration hurt the black business. Integration hurt the black business because black folks were able to go elsewhere. They were able to go somewhere else. And that's what hurt the black community. When black folks were able to go sit at the lunch counter at Woolworths. Bambergers back in the day. Macy's and Bambergers back in the day. So as black folks gained more freedom, they started branching out. They started branching out and going to different places, going to different areas where white folks were, in charge of the businesses, and with black folks, because maybe the white businesses will probably had better items. It's a possibility where they had better items. The prices were cheaper. It could have been. Nicer places, nicer areas. You just worry about somebody snatching your bag out your hand, when you come outside of the store. That could have been it. But my point was that integration hurt black businesses because it gave black folks options to go somewhere else. When black folks didn't have no option, they stayed at home. They went to Black Wall Street. They went to black-owned businesses because they didn't have any other choice. But once they got a choice, they started branching out and going different places, and that was the downfall of the black business. Just like today. Like I said, I've been saying for the last few weeks, One United Bank, 775 million dollars in assets. $700 million in assets. One United Bank, largest black bank in America. Largest black bank in America. The largest white-owned bank or white-controlled bank is J.P. Morgan Chase. And a lot of us, black folks, we bank with Chase and Wells Fargo, Bank America. And I get it because One United Bank doesn't have the technology that we are all comfortable with. So I get it. I haven't been to the bank in years. I didn't even go to the bank to open the account. But One United Bank and some of these other Carver, Federal Savings, a lot of some of these smaller black banks, they don't have the technology. They don't have the ATMs everywhere. Lamont Gates says those communities couldn't even use a bathroom next to them. Freedom was all about branching out. No one should be forced to only shop at one type of store. Integration has actually created more black millionaires. Should I respond to that, Lamont Gates? No. But what I will say, but how many black millionaires are there? How many black millionaires are there? And how did integration create more black millionaires? You tell me. Because that's, I don't understand that one. How did integration create more black millionaires? That's what I'd like to know, Lamont Case. 5 minutes before the hour. Maybe you can tell me next week. when we come back on the air for another edition of the Ron Kelly Show. Still working on the makeover, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Still working on it. Man, I didn't think it was be so involved, but you know what? It is. So we're still working on it. We will definitely, once we know the date, we'll announce it and we'll let you guys know. At 3.5 minutes before the hour, we'll let you know what's going on. But I want to know, Lamar Gates, how does integration create more black millionaires? That's what I want to know. Let's see. More than the 1920s, it created more because instead of only blacks watching the ball, all races that. Well, LeBron is an enigma, Lamar Gates. LeBron James wasn't alive in the 60s. So, especially not his mother wasn't alive in the 20s. So, well, see, with the Negro, well, I don't know if Lamar James, we don't know, we'd have to dissect that. We would have to dissect that because I don't know if Lamont, if integration was well on its way by the time LeBron James came around. So I don't know if you can even quantify that. And as far as the Negro League goes, black folks went, black folks attended, and when they finally tried to bring a black person into the Major League Baseball, you see what happened. Well, we don't know. I would guess we don't know like how many black folks are involved with basketball. How many white folks are involved with basketball? Those are enigmas among cases. Those people weren't around. He wasn't around during that time. Integration was well on its way by the time he came around. The white folks would go to the Negro leagues, and they didn't want black folks in their league. So when Jackie Robinson went through what he went through, people spitting on him and calling him nigger and all of that from the stands. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. But we had our own thing. So that's my position, Lamar Gates. I respect your position, everybody else's position who chimed in on this, people who emailed me, because I did look at some emails that came from listeners who want to remain anonymous, which is fine. But we're going to break out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching, listening. Thanks for making the Ron Kelly Show part of your day. We'll come back, and I'll touch on this next week when we come back. Okay, so thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for supporting me as you always have. Lamar Gates, they don't have to be around back then. I'm proving that because of it's had Jordan and P. Diddy been around when segregation failed or stopped, then I could probably quantify that argument. Because they weren't around at that time, I can't say that integration, because right now nobody thinks about integration, segregation, etc. All right, everybody, a couple of seconds left. Thank you for listening, watching, perusing, messaging me, and we'll get back to you next week on another edition of the Ron Kelly Show. So until then, I'd like to say it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice, Lamar Gates, and that we may not have it all together, but together we can have it all. Thank you, Ronald McCready, Shawnetta Marshall, and all the other folks who I couldn't see. Sorry I can't see you, but I know you're there. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next week. And I think that I am out of here. Good night, Lamar Gates.